He's the oldest, so he gets to go first. But
we haven't seen practice, and I know you guys have only practiced twice, but a lot of new faces that you guys are looking at. What are some of the things you as the coordinator want to see from individuals and the units, especially with those cornerbacks you brought in, transfers?
Yeah, obviously for us, this spring is exciting because there is so many new faces. Not necessarily new to the program, all of them, but there's going to be new roles. I mean, we lost so much experience and depth. Guys played a ton of snaps, and it was really fun last year because you had that experience and you could play with that. Now, you really the biggest thing you're asking them to do in the spring is grow, right? This is when you start to try to earn those expanded roles, right? Starting jobs, expanded roles kind of across the board. You're learning the skill set of guys to where as coaches then we can game plan for the season, figuring out who's going to be on the field. So we just want growth at this point, right? I mean, everyone says that in the spring, but you just want guys to be able to play fast, play aggressive, and really showcase their true skill set to where then we can go back and we have enough flexibility in our system to really game plan for the individuals a little bit more. Like you knew what you had with Leo, you knew what you had with Jack, right? The DBs, we didn't have to do anything to help them because we knew we had experience all across the board. So that's the fun part this spring is it's going to look a little bit different because we're calling things a little different, but it's also looking different because of the skill set of the guys, the new faces out there. And the secondary, obviously we brought in some veteran corners. We know what they can do physically. It's getting them to learn the system, learn how to communicate with their teammates, and really showcase what they are. Right? They have to prove kind of what they are. These other guys on the team, they don't care about what they did in the past. So really just coming in and learn how to be a great teammate, help out the guys around them, and learn what we do, learn our scheme.
Jim, what move of Spencer Lytle from outside to inside? What do you like about inside?
Yeah, I mean, well, he was a guy that, as his high school career progressed, really his senior year, he played all inside. We recruited him as an outside backer, but we knew from a skill set standpoint, he had the ability to do both. And we just feel like right now with where he's at, where that inside backer group is at, best opportunity to compete for him is that inside backer. He's done some really, really good things for us in space, right? And kind of in that, what you would consider that role, right? When he was kind of doing that stuff as an outside backer. So excited for that move for him. I think it helps him out. Hopefully gives him kind of new life. Went through some injuries and now it's staying healthy and continuing to push. But yeah, we recruited him knowing he had the flexibility to do both. And you think of Jack Sitchie, right? You think of Ryan Connolly. Those were two guys that did both early in their career and then flipped to inside backer as their career progressed. We kind of see him kind of in that mold.
Would it be safe to say this is the most you've had to kind of retool a defense going into a spring, or is there a year you can draw on? I don't know if you've ever had to replace this many.
Yeah, you got to go back to, was it 2017, 2018? It's very similar, right? We lost just a ton of guys, whole D-line, right? You had, trying to think of who Leon Jacobs, right? You had TJ Edwards, Connolly, all those guys, Alec James, Connor, Chikwe, Olive. Like you had a ton of guys that left after that season, secondary wise, right? Lost a ton of experience, and we had to go really young, right? You think about it, that was Caesar Williams, Faion Hicks, Scott Nelson, all those guys were freshmen, right? So that's where the transfer portal changes things enough, right? Because you don't have to go from experience to non-experience in today's football. We love the guys we have, right? We're not down on anybody in that secondary group. We knew we needed depth, right? We knew we didn't have to go as young as we did in the past. That would have been really the last time. And you think about it, those guys played from 17 or 18 till last year. So that was where kind of using the transfer portal this offseason came into play.
Jim, you mentioned the portal. I mean, in past years, college coaches, their young kids would come up in the system, know everything, and then they would move up into greater roles. Is the portal bringing in like the 3 senior cornerbacks? Is it kind of like the NFL, either trades or free agency, where they're coming in from a different team, a different system, and there is a little transition period there?
Yeah, I mean, we want to recruit and develop our guys. That's where we want to live, right? But you're not, with the current rules, this is the times, this is how we would like to use it, right? 3 guys coming in for a year with a purpose, right? I love the purpose these guys are coming in for and why they made the decisions they made. But you look at it, it's kind of a 1-year situation where we knew we needed to create depth and experience, right? This does not want to be our norm we want to recruit kids. We want to be able to look them in the eye and say, you have time to develop within our program and grow, right? But when you have issues where you lost so much experience and depth, right, there's a huge gap. Well, every once in a while you're going to have to try to fill that. That's how we want to use the transfer portal. We don't want to go all in. We want to be we want to be a recruit and develop program, right? That's what we've done. That's what we've had success doing. And you see a lot of guys in year 3, in year 4, take that next step and have great careers here. That's still what we want to be, kind of the foundation of our program.
Jim, I heard other coaches' faces on
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I have a portal question too. I've heard other coaches kind of compared to speed dating. You know, where high school guys you're recruiting them for months, maybe years. Is that the challenge? Is that you're getting to know a kid in a pretty small amount of time and figuring out, are you the right fit for him? Is he the right fit for you? Is that kind of the...
Yeah, I mean, there's an element to that, right? We still want to try to recruit kids we know, right? If you're taking a chance on a kid, you want to make sure you have the right amount of information. And you look at Justin Clark, right? Coach Poteet recruited him in high school, coached him, right, for a long time. Cedric, we recruited out of high school. So 2 of the 3 corners, we knew a pretty good amount about them coming into the situation. So, but that will be the trick, right? Like, you got to make sure they fit the culture of your team, right? You got to make sure that it's a good opportunity for you and a good opportunity for them, right? Because otherwise things can go south in a hurry, right? If they feel like you're not telling them the truth and things like that. So, like I said, I already mentioned, I love the approach that these guys have had coming in, understanding how they have to earn it again and really get to know their teammates, and they have to fit in, not we have to adjust. They've all had that mentality, which I think is the right way to approach it.
a couple of faces on the coaching staff, including one your side of the ball, Bill Sheridan. What are your impressions about him?
Really excited about Bill. Ton of experience, and he's really helped myself, I think the rest of the staff, even in a short amount of time, just the ideas he's had. He's done a lot of different things, coached at different levels, has his own philosophy on things. So you're seeing just how much more detailed, right, in some areas because of the experience he has, the questions he asks. He's going to force us to continue to improve what we've already done and had success on, and I think he's going to bring a lot of new ideas to the table. So I'm excited in the short amount of time that he's been here, kind of where this defense can go with him on our side of the ball.
What were your impressions of Mickey as a recruiter when he was the tight ends coach? What do you believe he can do as a recruiter, leading that department right now?
Yeah, another move that I'm really excited for. Mick's extremely detailed, right? He's loves relationships, loves talking to people, gaining that information. So, as a recruiter, that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to reach out to people, talk to kids, and truly find out what makes them tick, right? What makes them special? What makes us as a program want to have you on the team, right? And then us of selling, like, what truly is Wisconsin? Well, what better way to sell what the program is than a guy who's coached it, seen it, been in the locker room, right? You know all of our players, so you know what fits and what doesn't fit. So I'm excited for him. He's doing a great job already. So, it's going to be a big addition, I think, for us to just continue to have more resources in the building to really sell what this program is and help get the right athletes here.
With the off-season training and everything, did you notice any player kind of stepping into that leadership role with all the guys you lost in last season?
Yeah, I think a number. You see, I always love in the winter to just kind of sit back when they're doing these workouts and see, end of a workout, who steps up, right? Something goes wrong, right? Who pulls the guys together? And I think, without going into too many names, like I see a number of guys who maybe would have deferred in the past, let some of the older players step up. They looked around and said, you know what, this is my time now. On defense, I look at a guy like Keanu, John Torchio, saw him in the offseason, right? I'm not trust me, I could say a lot of different names that I saw. Offensively, I think there's you see Graham continuing to grow into that role as he's getting older. I think you see a lot of younger players walking around with a lot more confidence, right? They know that it's time to take that next step, and a number of them made that next step in season, but the role wasn't there yet, right? Whether from a leadership role or maybe the snaps on the field, still a little bit of, waiting for the guy ahead of me to move on. So, so many guys, I think, to me, I just see the confidence. I see the way they carry themselves right now. They're ready for that next step. And I just named 2 on defense. I could go down the list of guys that just stuck out to me early in the offseason of, like I said, maybe guys who weren't as vocal in the past, guys who would defer to an older guy, Henny in our group, Scott Nelson, Colin, those guys in our group, Fayon, Caesar. They were just going to stay back and listen, and now you see them step up right away, and you go, okay, like you get it. Trey Blaylock's another one in the DB group of kind of deferred to those guys a little bit more in the past, and you see them step up and be a lot more vocal on a day-to-day basis. So excited. It's always different, right? That's the beauty of college football. It's going to look different when we get to the fall because there's so many new faces out there, but can we take ownership of it, right? Can those guys own it and really help take this thing to the next level?
Jim, you guys expect a lot from outside backers, and I think you know what you get out of Nick Herbig. One guy I know you guys were excited about when he got him was Aaron Witt. I know he's been banged up. Is he able to go this spring, and what can you try to envision for him if he's healthy and how he can maybe play a role?
Yeah, with Aaron, obviously we are extremely excited of the ability he has, the focus, kind of the detail that he brings to it, and we're just trying to be smart and make sure he's healthy. We need him next fall, right? That's the number one step. Whatever we can get out of him this spring, right? Whatever we can do to help continue his progress forward as a player, that's what we want to focus on. It's frustrating. He's more frustrated than anybody in the building right now with what he's had to go through over the last year, and we know his commitment to this place, and we want to do right by just making sure to continue to progress him at the pace he needs to, so he's available in the fall. We know that he's going to be a factor if he's on that field, and we know he can change things for us.
With the outside linebacker room, you have, they're coming back. You have Noah leaving. You have Spencer moving inside. There's CJ Getz, but who others are you hoping to step? Obviously, you want everyone to step up, but are there a couple players like Daryl Peterson, Caden Johnson also receiving the reps that you want them to?
Yeah, I mean, that's, once again, a group that we're really excited about the depth, and guys grew up a ton last year, and we're sitting behind great players. So you mentioned CJ, right? Opportunity to step into a big role, right? You look to that boundary side, and you got DP, right? You do have TJ Bowlers over there, guys who, we're really excited about as the season was going on. And then to the field, you got Nick Herbig, obviously with Spencer moving to inside. You're kind of looking at Caden Johnson of growing into a bigger role. Those are guys that I think we're really excited for this spring. Them being available and continuing to progress over 15 practices is going to be huge for that group. They flashed. They've done some things really, really well in this program, and now it's just continuing to become more consistent, continuing to kind of get a bigger toolbox as far as what we can ask them to do, because that's been the most versatile position group, that outside backers that we've had kind of in the last couple of years.
Jim, you mentioned in the last recruiting cycle a couple of guys, Jake Ratzlaff, and you just mentioned Bowlers, it's kind of hybrid roles. Do you still kind of envision that for them, or do you see them kind of maybe locking into one or the other linebacker spots?
Yeah, I think TJ Bowlers has more ability to do a little bit different because of his size and his strength. Rats, I think, he's truly inside backer. Like we're really excited about him and what he can do, but I think he'll stick at that inside backer position for now, and as his career goes on, maybe you can look to expand different things, but right now he'll be at the inside backer.
You mentioned how exciting this spring is. Do you enjoy the challenge of kind of making puzzle parts fit with new faces and new roles?
Yeah, obviously as a coach, you're trying to continue to push the scheme, right? You're trying to take away some of the holes and fill the gaps. But I'm just so big on being flexible enough that you can tailor it. Once the fall comes, you have to tailor it to your personnel, right? Like we were able to do things with Leo last year you're not asking many linebackers to do because of his skill set, right? We put a ton of adjustments on a guy like Jack, because he never looked at you like, you're really going to ask me to do all this? Like, whereas a lot of kids are going to look at you like, well, you really expect me to know this, right? So just little things like that. We always tailor it to the guy, right, to the players. So right now it's more about the position group as a whole, right, top to bottom, right? How do we get them to play fast? How do we give an opportunity to showcase their skill set? So it's a little bit more generic, it's a little bit more broad, and then once we flip to the fall, right, how specific to the guy can we get? There's going to be injuries, there's going to be moving pieces, so right, all this stuff in the spring still carries over, but you're trying to tailor your game plan to the individuals that are starting, to those guys that you think can be difference makers, and especially in big situations. So that's what's exciting as a coach, right, is how well can we coach these guys in the spring to showcase what they are, so then you can really in season make it to where they're doing what they're really good at, right, a high majority of the time.
Time for one more. How do you usually use Guido in the kind of role? Obviously, he's got a background with safeties, but what do you think his role will be?
Yeah, he's got a ton of experience. It's really exciting to have him back. You mentioned the safety background as a player, helping with Dave Aranda. He worked outside backers, secondary, inside backers, you name it, he's helped out. Went to Utah State, coached safeties, flipped to offense. So just the amount of knowledge that he has, offense and defense, it's going to be a lot of fun. He did a lot of game plan prep for them, looking ahead at future opponents. So, as this offseason goes on, we'll pin down exactly the best role. But we're excited about, just like you talk players, like you talk the versatility that he has and how he can help, because it's not a young guy. Like he's got a trained eye. He knows the game of football, and he's been around some really good coaches.